The battle for Virginia's governor sits in a dead heat just days away from the election. Polls show Democrat Terry McAuliffe and Republican Glenn Youngkin are nearly tied. Political experts are keeping a close eye on this race, saying that the outcome could shed a light on next year's midterms. With more, I'd like to bring in Maya King. She's a reporter at Politico. Hi there, Maya. So this is going to be a close race. What are McAuliffe and Youngkin doing in the remaining days to try and garner last-minute support?
Yes, well, this is really the weekend that both of the candidates are aiming to run up the score. You'll see both Terry McAuliffe and Glenn Youngkin traversing the Commonwealth, as well as the other members of their ticket and many of their surrogates. Essentially, they're going for the constituencies and the groups of voters that they know they absolutely need to turn out. For Terry McAuliffe this weekend, that's definitely Black voters. You'll see him and also Jim Clyburn in the southern part of Virginia, the southern part of the Commonwealth, the Tidewater region, the Norfolk and Hampton Roads, which is really where a lot of the Democrats' Black support among the base is, while a lot of Youngkin supporters and he himself will be in Northern Virginia. Education has been a huge issue in this race, and it's been especially animating the Northern Virginia sort of D.C. suburbs and exurbs. And that's where he is this weekend, essentially trying to cut into Democrats' gains there. So it's coming down to the wire, as you mentioned. The poll numbers are very close in this race. So both of the candidates are looking to shore up the support where they know they need it and where they know that they can get it.
Well, Clyburn being there is a big deal. He's obviously a kingmaker, is a title that he's been given. And you mentioned, Maya, the importance of education, particularly for Youngkin's campaign. I'm wondering, in these final moments, what are the major issues that are really resonating with voters in Virginia?
Sure. Well, in the final days, of course, education and the teaching of the history of race and racism in this country has been front of mind for Republicans, and Democrats are now sort of hopping on board. Earlier this week, you had the McAuliffe campaign actually handing out copies of Beloved by Toni Morrison, sort of making the point that if Glenn Youngkin were elected, he would be banning books like that for their content. But you also have a number of national issues really animating this race right now. So the economy and rising prices, that's definitely on the ballot and something that Republicans are using to sort of to paint Democrats as ineffective in their leadership in Washington. Of course, COVID remains top of mind for all voters, and McAuliffe polls higher than Youngkin on views of how he would handle the pandemic in these final weeks of the race, but also in the coming months, should he be elected. So you have, a lot of issues that are close to home, but also some really big picture issues, which is why Terry McAuliffe has really been very vocal and very direct in his conversations and also in his calls to action for his colleagues in Washington, essentially telling Joe Biden and Democrats in Congress, please pass the infrastructure bill. Please have something that I can run on in these last days of the campaign to say this is what Democratic leadership can bring to Virginia, and this is what I'm hoping to continue.
Now, there's been a lot of back and forth on that. And Beloved, we should tell our viewers, is based off of a true life story about Margaret Gardner and what she suffered as an enslaved person. So, Maya, how will the outcome of this year's governor's race impact next year's midterm elections?
Well, there are a number of things that we can glean from this race in next year's midterms. First is the playbook, I think, that Republicans are using in figuring out how to campaign in states that were once heavily blue to essentially cut in on Democrats' margins. But larger than that, I think what we'll be able to see, regardless of the outcome, is Democrats standing. A lot of what I'm hearing from folks now, especially Democrats in Virginia, is that they expected this race to be close, but the way that these poll numbers are really tightening, with the race being considered a toss-up, and even some polls declaring that Youngkin is now ahead of McAuliffe, are really making them nervous, because if McAuliffe does ultimately pull off a win here and win the election on Tuesday, it still is a sign that Democrats have a lot of work to do if they want to try to, I guess, stop the bleeding, for lack of a better phrase, in 2022. They know that it's going to be really tough for them to hold the House and hold the Senate or expand their margins in the Senate. And so what happens on Tuesday, I think, will give both parties an idea, really, of how viable Democrats are. As we remember, President Joe Biden won Virginia by 10 points last November. So a loss for Democrats there would be really a blow to their prospects next year.
A huge swing, particularly among independent voters. Maya King, thank you.
Thank you.